Ranga Nitai Gauranga
Nitai Gaurango Gaura Hari.
Nitai Gauranga Gaura Hari.
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva.
Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva.
Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everybody, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Bolo Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everybody, Hare Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Krishna
Hare
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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Bolo
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Bolo
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai.
Jai
Shri Radha Nilamadhava
Ki
Ki Jai. His
Jai
Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai
Srimad Bhagavad Gita Grantha Raja Ki Jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanandi.
Hari Hari Bol.
Where is Radhika? So today we're going to hear from Bhagavad Gita, the 11th chapter, text number 36. And this verse says, Arjuna uvacha stani hrishikesha tava prakritiya jagat parishyati anurajyate cha rakshami bhutani disadravanti sarve damasyanti cha siddhasangaha. So you can repeat after me. Arjuna uvacha stane Rishikesha Tava Pakritriya Jagat Prahishyati Anurajyate Cha Rakshamsi Bitani Diso Dravanti Sarve Namasyanti Cha Siddha Sangaha. Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid, and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. So this is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, text number 36. In the explanation of this verse, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada says, Arjuna, after hearing from Krishna about the outcome of the battle of Kurukshetra, became enlightened, and as a great devotee and friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, he said that everything done by Krishna is quite fit. Arjuna confirmed that Krishna is the maintainer and object of worship for the devotees and the destroyer of the undesirables, or meaning the demons. His actions are equally good for all. Okay, I'll stop right there. When it says his actions are equally good for all, that means he protects his devotees and helps them go back to Godhead, and he kills the demons, but by killing them, they also go back to Godhead, you see. So this is the real mercy of God. Okay, now there's too much noise going on in the temple here. Everyone has to stop talking. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. You can silently observe the exhibits, please.
So, you see, Krishna is actually the most merciful God. Why? Because whether you are his friend or his enemy, you go back to Godhead. He's not a vengeful God. He's a merciful God. So no matter how you come in contact with Krishna, as a friend or an enemy, as a friend, Krishna will take you back to Godhead. As an enemy, he'll kill you and take you back to Godhead. So this is the real understanding of who God is. The Christian understanding of who God is, the Islamic understanding of who God is, they don't really understand clearly. They understand some things, definitely, but not profoundly. So God is not a nasty person. He's very, very merciful. Whether someone is a demon or a devotee, both will go back to Godhead if they come in contact with Krishna. It's just like fire. If you're a good person and you put your hand in the fire, you get burned. If you're a bad person and you put your hand in the fire, you also get burned. So in that sense, fire is absolute. And the same way, if you're a friend of Krishna, you get purified and you go back to Godhead. If you're an enemy of Krishna, you get purified and go back to Godhead. So therefore, what should we understand about this is that any way you come in contact with Krishna is for your benefit. And the easiest way to come in contact with Krishna is to chant the holy names of the Lord. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So everybody has a tongue. And the tongue has two major uses. Number one, you taste things with the tongue. And number two, you can sing or speak with the tongue. So if you taste prasadam, or Krishna's sanctified food, first it's cooked and then it's offered with love to Krishna, and then Krishna offers it back as his prasad. If you eat prasad, you become purified. You come directly in contact with Krishna. And secondly, if you chant Hare Krishna, again, you come directly in contact with God or Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So everything is made easy in this age. This age is Kali Yuga. Now, Kali Yuga is a difficult time for most people. Okay, stay quiet, please. Kali Yuga is a very bad time to be in this world because most people do not believe in God. Most people are atheists. However, because it's such a difficult time, Krishna has made it very easy in this age to go back to Godhead. You only have to do two things. Chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And eat Mahaprasadam. And we're expert in these two things. In other words, when you come to the temple, you'll chant Hare Krishna, and you'll have plenty of Mahaprasadam. Because we want everyone to go back to the spiritual world. And the best way to do that is to chant Hare Krishna and eat Mahaprasadam. The real purpose of human birth is to be able to free yourself from the cycle of birth and death. This is the real problem that everyone is faced with. What is that? There's birth, death, old age, and disease. These are the real problems of life. The real problems are not political, they're not social. None of those things are the real problems of life. They're not economic, etc. The real problems of life is this birth, old age, disease, and death. And the solution to that is very simple. Why? Because things are so difficult in this age, Krishna has made it very easy. It's easier now to go back to Godhead than in any other time. You have Satya Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So in Satya Yuga, everyone was devotee. They were all in the good mode of goodness. And then the other yugas, the Dwapara Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is the worst time to live because most people are atheists. It doesn't matter whether they're Hindu or they're Christian or Muslim. Mostly they're atheists. Now, why would I say that? How can a Muslim be an atheist? Well, one day I was with a Muslim gentleman, and I asked him, I said, do you believe God is a person? Excuse me. I said, do you believe that God has a form, a body? He said, no. I said, you just insulted God. He said, what do you mean I insulted God? I love God. I know you love Allah, but you just insulted Allah. He said, how did I insult Allah? I said, what you just said means that you have something that God doesn't have. He said, I don't understand. I said, do you have a body? He said, yes. So God also has a body, but his body is spiritual and your body is material. But if you don't believe God has a body, you insult him. It's just like saying he doesn't have eyes, he doesn't have ears, he doesn't have a nose, he doesn't have a tongue, he doesn't have legs. All that negation of the transcendental body of Krishna, or God, is an insult. You have eyes, you have a tongue, you have legs, you have arms, and you think God doesn't have those things? Of course he does. He has everything you have and more, because his body is transcendental and our bodies are material. What's the saving grace is we have an eternal soul that animates the body with consciousness. So we have to learn to feed the soul. It's as important, if not more important, than feeding the body. How do you feed the soul? Okay, it's very easy. Chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The soul is a spiritual thing. It's who you actually are. You're not the body. I can prove it in 1 minute. The body is changing always. When your first body was microscopic, that little sperm that went from your father to your mother and connected with the ovum that sperm was microscopic. You need a microscope to see it. That's our first body. And then it develops into like a ball with 9 holes in it. And those 9 holes become 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, a mouth, an anus, and so forth, and mouth, and so forth. So, at every stage of life, the body is changing. Therefore, if you say, I am this body, I can ask you the question. I say, which body are you talking about? The one that was in the womb of your mother, the one that was pushed out as a little baby, the one you have when you're 6 years old, 16 years old, or 60 years old. We're not this body. It's always changing. But we are the consciousness, which is the symptom of the soul. That is who we are. And consciousness means there's awareness. Just like a person who is serious about spiritual life becomes very much aware of their relationship with God or Krishna. And therefore, they act in that relationship. That's the most significant relationship we can have. How do you have a relationship with God or Krishna? You chant his holy names, and you eat his holy prasad, and you associate with his good devotees. Now, a good devotee is someone who actually follows the rules and regulations of spiritual life. That is, no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. Those are called the yamas, things you should never do. And there are things that you should always do. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Why? Because the name of Krishna and Krishna are non-different. Because Krishna is absolute. So everything about him is absolute. So when you chant his names, you are coming directly in contact with the Supreme Lord. Chant Hare Krishna, eat only prasadam. One time I did a program in the house, and the lady of the house said, "Oh, Prabhu, the puja was very good. Now come and have some prasad." I said, "Oh, all right." I said, "Can I ask you a question, though?" She said, "Yes, what is it?" I said, "Did you cook?" She said, "No." I said, "Who cooked?" She said, "Well, I purchased food from a Taj Mahal restaurant." I said, "You know the cook at Taj Mahal?" She said, "Yeah, I know. His name is Ahmed." I said, "I don't want that. That's not prasad. Ahmed doesn't know how to make prasadam." You see, everything that shines is not gold, and Ahmed's so-called prasad is not prasad because he doesn't know how to offer it properly. And by the way, he's a meat eater. Now you might say, "Well, wait a minute. Maybe you're being prejudiced." No, I'm not being prejudiced. I'm just telling the truth. See, in different religions, there are different concepts. Like, for example, the Christians and the Muslims and the Jews, they all eat meat. Real Hindus, not the false Hindus, but the real Hindus, they also are strictly vegetarian. Of course, today there are many Hindus that eat meat, so you can't really call them Hindus because they're violating Sanatan Dharma. But if you don't violate Sanatan Dharma, then you have to follow the rules of Sanatan Dharma, which are no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication, and always chanting the glories of the Lord by reading Vedic text. And the supreme Vedic text is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Why? Bhagavad Gita is the oldest book in the history of the world. It was first spoken 140 million years ago by Krishna to the sun god, Vivaswan, or Surya. And the last time it was spoken by Krishna was 5,000 years ago to Arjuna. And it's still, and we have that same Bhagavad Gita today, Bhagavad Gita Yata Rupa, as it is. There are other Bhagavad Gitas that are not as it is, but the Bhagavad Gita by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, is Yatarup, as it is. In other words, if you read the Bhagavad Gita commented by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, you'll come to exactly the same realization as Arjuna did. What was his realization? Well, his realization was that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'm always subordinate to Him, and I worship Him with love and devotion, and I will always engage in the devotional service of the Lord. That's Arjuna's realization, and we'll come to the same realization. But if you don't read Bhagavad Gita as it is, you read some what you would call fake Bhagavad Gita with the false interpretations of so-called scholars and speculators, you're not really reading Bhagavad Gita. So there's the real thing and the fake thing. So we should take the real thing. The real thing means Bhagavad Gita as it is commented by genuine devotees that follow strictly the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness themselves, and they only speak from the Bhagavad Gita, which is the oldest book in the history of the world. There's no other book like this. The Bible is only 2,000 years old. The Quran is 1,500 years old. The Buddhist writings are 2,500 years old. The Bhagavad Gita was spoken in the first time 140 million years ago, and the last time 5,000 years ago. This is the oldest book in the history of the world, and it is full of transcendental knowledge. So today, I'm going to read one verse of the Bhagavad Gita, which is full of transcendental knowledge, and it says, and you can repeat after me, Arjuna Uvacha Stane Hrishikesha Tava Prakritiya Jagat Prahishyati Anurajyate Cha Rakshamsi Vitani Diso Dravyanti Sarve Namasyanti Cha Siddha Sangaha. Arjuna said, O Master of the senses, Krishna, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. So this is Krishna speaking to Arjuna. This is Arjuna speaking to Krishna. And he says, O Master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. So is this a fact? Well, we have to look. People who violate the principles of Sanatana Dharma are not interested in chanting the name of Krishna or eating prasadam or not engaging in illicit sex and so forth. So they can't have this transcendental understanding of who God is, and they don't have the ecstasy of associating with God through the holy name of the Lord and through prasadam and by doing devotional activities for the pleasure of the Lord. Like, for example, let me give you an example. There are religions today that have no knowledge at all about God. Like, for example, if you go to a mosque, do you see a murti of God? No. Because they don't have the knowledge. It's not in the Quran. And you can go to other types of religions also. They have no real idea of what God looks like. And although they believe that there is a God, but they have very little information. Like, for example, the Christians and the Muslims and the Jews, they don't know that you should not eat meat. It's not in their scripture. There are things missing, or there are things misleading in their scriptures. However, the Bhagavad Gita, which is, like, as I said, the oldest book in the history of the world, has everything in it that is correct and will give you direct information of who you are in relationship to God or Krishna, and how you can act in that relationship, and how you can very easily go back to Godhead in this lifetime. So it's very important to read this Bhagavad Gita, and better than reading it is hearing it spoken by genuine devotees. So this verse says, Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. In other words, that implies if you start chanting Hare Krishna, you'll become very attached to Krishna. Just like some people, they're always talking about Trump, 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 or Biden, 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 right? So eventually they become attached to these people. Of course, that leads them nowhere spiritual. However, if you're always chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, you'll become attached to Krishna naturally, because you're chanting his holy name. That's why it's recommended, Yuga Dharma Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In this age of Kali Yuga, it is highly recommended. In fact, more emphatically, the only way to make spiritual advancement in this age is to chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And it's the mantra for everyone. Man means the mind, tra means deliverance. It delivers your mind away from ignorance to genuine knowledge and liberation. So we should take this very easy method for spiritual advancement, simply chanting the names of Krishna and eating only Hare Krishna Mahamantra, eating only Mahaprasadam. And that's what we do here. These are the two main things we do here in the temple. We chant the names of Krishna. Of course, we worship the deities. And we eat Mahaprasadam. If you just do those two things, you're guaranteed to be liberated from the cycle of birth and death. It's easier in this age of Kali, which is the worst age, but it's easier to go back to Godhead because it's so difficult to live in this age. So Krishna made it easy. You just do these two things. You eat prasadam, but it has to be prasadam, right? And you chant Hare Krishna. Now, what is prasadam? It is food that has been cooked with love and devotion for Krishna and offered with love and devotion to Krishna. And it becomes a transcendental substance. It's no longer just, rice and sabji and dal. No, they become spiritually infused and spiritually, let's say, helpful to give you deeper understanding of your relationship with God. So it's very important to do these two main things, to chant Hare Krishna and eat only prasadam. But prasadam means there's no meat, there's no intoxication, there's no illicit sex, and so forth. You have to follow the rules and regulations of spiritual life. No meat, no gambling, intoxication, and no illicit sex. So 4 things you give up and 4 things you do. No meat, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, and chant Hare Krishna, eat only prasadam, and associate with devotees, and hear lectures given by devotees, and above all, come on Harinam Sankirtan, chanting the holy names of the Lord Hare Krishna in public to help other people also, everybody. Just like I was not born Hindu, I was born a Christian. And in a sense, if you talked to me when I was 16 and told me to chant Hare Krishna, I'd say, no, why should I chant Hare Krishna? I have my own religion. I'm a Christian. But later on, when I began to associate with devotees, and especially when I read the Bhagavad Gita and then I heard it spoken by genuine devotees, I realized that I had a much deeper realization of who Jesus Christ was and what it means to be a devotee of the Lord. And therefore, I began to chant Hare Krishna, and eventually I took initiation and to follow all the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness. And so there's 4 things you do, 4 things you don't do. So no meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, and always chant Hare Krishna, eat only prasadam, associate with devotees and hear lectures, and go on Harinam Sankirtan to spread the glories of the Lord. And those are the basic things that we do day in and day out from this temple. So, this verse today is very interesting, and in the explanation of it, it says, Arjuna, after hearing from Krishna about the outcome of the battle of Kurukshetra, became enlightened. And as a great devotee and friend of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he said that everything done by Krishna is quite fit. In other words, whatever Krishna does is right. Arjuna confirmed that Krishna is the maintainer and the object of worship for the devotees and the destroyer of the undesirables. His actions are equally good for all. In other words, whether you're a devotee of Krishna or you're an enemy of Krishna, you go back to Godhead because you're thinking of Krishna. That's how powerful the holy name of the Lord is. You can be a devotee of the Lord and always chant Hare Krishna, or you can be a demon and basically hate Krishna and always say bad things about Krishna, but you will also go back to Godhead because you're saying the name of Krishna, you see. So the name of Krishna is transcendental, and Krishna himself is merciful. He's not a mean person. He's very, very merciful. If you even say the name of Krishna once in this lifetime, you're guaranteed that at least the next birth you'll have a human body and another chance to make spiritual advancement. That's why whenever someone calls me up on the phone, I don't say hello. I always say Hare Krishna, right? And then when I meet people on the street, I say Hare Krishna. And when I go, let's say, somewhere and I talk to someone, I begin by saying Hare Krishna. Eventually, they catch on, and therefore, when they see me say Hare Krishna, they also say Hare Krishna. So that's the whole point, to help people at least once in their life to say Hare Krishna. Yeah, one time when I was with my guru, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, I told him that I was going to open up a restaurant and call it Krishna Restaurant. He said, no. He said, you should write Hare Krishna Restaurant. He said, let them say Hare Krishna once in their life. So, when they come to see the restaurant, and they see Hare Krishna Restaurant. Right? So it's very important for people to, even if they don't want to be a devotee, but at least once in their life they should say Hare Krishna. So let's try it right now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. One time I was listening to a lecture by my guru, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, who is sitting right here now, and he said, I was in a large hall, and we were all taking prasadam, and he said, and if you cannot say Hare Krishna, then you will be taken to Narak by Yamaraj. And then I stopped eating. I said, "What did he just say?" I asked the person next to me, "What did he just say?" And he said, and the person next to me said, he said something about Yamaraj. I said, "Yeah, right." I said, "But what did he say though?" And then we both thought about it. I said, "Yeah." He said, "And if you cannot say the name of Krishna in this lifetime, you'll go back to Yamaraj." Now, Yamaraj is a person you really don't want to know. You really don't want to see him because he is the superintendent of Narak, or basically in English they call that hell, right? But actually, he's a nice guy in the sense that he'll train you to say Hare Krishna. Yeah, and but it takes a little while, because so many people are recalcitrant or they're stubborn, But Yamaraj knows how to, let's say, train people to do the right thing. So you don't want to, but you don't really want to see Yamaraj because it's very frightening. He's a very, very frightening person, but he's a good person. He just has. It's just like being a policeman, like for the robbers, they don't like to see policemen. But for people who follow the rules and regulations of society, they like seeing policemen. Right? So most people today are thieves. They are, for example, when they eat food, they don't offer the food first to Krishna. So most people just eat, right? Like animals. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. No spiritual, let's say, feelings. But when a devotee wants to eat, first of all, take a bath and be very clean, and then secondly, he will offer the food with love and devotion to Krishna and say nice prayers, glorifying the Lord. And then Krishna will offer the food back as his prasad or his mercy, and the devotee will relish the prasad and make spiritual advancement. So, ladies, if you have a husband that's not treating you nicely, the secret to change him is not to argue. The secret to change him is to learn how to make prasadam and offer it with love and devotion to Krishna, and also offer that prasadam to your husband. And you'll see, over time, not the first day, second day, but over time, he will change. And why? Because now he's coming in contact with Krishna through the prasadam. Prasadam is a very powerful, transcendental, what you would say, commodity that can change the lives of people. So here's our new cow. Her name is Radharani. Srimati Radhika, yeah, and she's very beautiful. She's only about 12 days old, I think, and she is a beautiful cow, very friendly. And whenever I speak, I always have her next to me because I like people to see a cow, touch the cow, hug the cow, cuddle the cow, because then you will have, let's say, guilt feelings if you eat meat, because the meat is usually cow meat, and if you love Radhika, then if you got Radhika, then you won't want to eat meat because you love her, and because you see her and you've petted her and you've touched her and you see how wonderful she is. And everything about a cow is pure. Her poop is pure. Her urine is pure. You can heal sicknesses with their urine, right? Of course, the dog, the poop is contaminated and the urine is contaminated of the dog. So if you want a pet, you should get a cow. And there are miniature cows that you can get nowadays. They're very, very, very fun, and more fun than a dog. Because what do dogs do? When they see another dog, they go ruff, 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 like this, The dogs are very, let's say, territorial, and they like to fight with other dogs. But a cow is always gentle. especially if you treat the cow gently. And you'll be very happy to have a cow. You want a cow, Prabhu? Huh? You have to ask your wife first. She'll end up having to take care of the cow because you won't have time. Yeah. Hare Krishna. But actually, it's very easy to take care of a cow. It's not difficult. Especially these cows. They're just like saintly animals. Okay, so Prabhupada writes here that Arjuna confirmed that Krishna is the maintainer and the object of worship for the devotees and the destroyer of the undesirables. Who are the undesirables? They're the demons. People that eat meat, gamble, have illicit sex, and speculate, and so forth. His actions are equally good for all. Arjuna understood herein that when the battle of Kurukshetra was being concluded, in outer space there were present many demigods, or siddhas, and the intelligentsia of the higher planets, and they were observing the fight because Krishna was present there. When Arjuna saw the universal form of the Lord, the demigods took pleasure in it, but others, who were demons and atheists, could not stand it when the Lord was praised. Out of their natural fear of the devastating form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they fled. Krishna's treatment of the devotees and atheists is praised by Arjuna. In all cases, a devotee glorifies the Lord because he knows that whatever the Lord does is good for all. And that's a very profound statement. You can be a good person or you can be a sinner. But if you come in contact with Krishna, you become purified. The good person and the sinner. And Krishna loves to purify sinners. It's not difficult. All you have to do is help a sinner eat prasadam and chant Hare Krishna, and they become purified very quickly. The worst people in the world can become the best people in the world by this simple process of chanting Hare Krishna and eating prasadam. This is the only religion in which you can attain perfection by eating. And the more you eat prasadam, the more you become purified, you see. So now, people that, there's some people that only eat once a day, some people eat twice a day, some people eat 3 times a day, some people eat 5 times a day, some people eat 10 times a day. The more you eat prasadam, the more you become purified, see. So, prasadam is not just anything. It's food that has been offered, it has been cooked with love and devotion, and offered to Krishna with love and devotion, and then Krishna offers it back with his love and devotion as a transcendental substance. It's no longer ordinary food. It now becomes a transcendental thing that can purify you physically and mentally so that you become a genuine devotee of the Lord. If you want to change someone from being a bad person to a good person, you can feed them prasadam. But don't tell them it's prasadam because they'll say, no, I don't want that. That's one case in which you can lie. You tell them, no, I didn't offer this to any god. Oh, okay, then I'll take it. So you see, demons are like that. Anything related to God, they don't want to have anything to do with it, right? But when you give them prasadam, which is what we do, we go on Sankirtan and we give out a lot of prasad to the people in the streets. We have our food trucks that go out and feed people for free 5 days a week, and the food has been offered to Krishna. And we have festivals, like yesterday we had our big festival, the food festival. So many people came. I think we had about 4,000 people came, and they all had Krishna prasadam, and they were all happy. And There was no. I mean, if you go to, let's say, a a let's say a party, and people are drinking beer, and the beginning of the night they all look well dressed and it's speaking nicely. By the end of the night, they're drunk. They're fighting with each other. Some of them are throwing up. Maybe one or two have to go to the hospital. And I saw that once, and I was really confused. In the beginning, everyone came to the party. They were all dressed nicely and speaking nicely. And then they started drinking beer and whiskey. And by the end of the night, two people had to go to the hospital. And there was one man, throwing up, and so forth. And I was thinking to myself, what is this? Being happy? Is this what a party is? No, it's suffering. So the best thing is no meat, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, and eating only Mahaprasadam and chanting Hare Krishna and hearing lectures by genuine devotees, and, if you can, coming on Harinam Sankirtan. In this age, the Harinam Sankirtan, or going out in the streets and chanting the holy names of the Lord, is the recommended way to help society become peaceful and spiritually enlightened. And, of course, we have our books. So many books in our library, you can take a look at them, that explain how to follow Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan means eternal, and Dharma means your real occupational duty. Now, what is our real occupational duty? Well, anybody who has the human body, their occupational duty is to become a devotee, a lover of Krishna, and go back to Godhead at the end of life. And to do that, you need, practice makes perfect. By chanting Hare Krishna every day and eating only prasadam, you will easily remember Krishna at the moment of death. But if you don't do those simple things, it's very hard to remember Krishna. You remember your 401k, you remember who your enemy is, and what you've done in your life sort of flashes across your mind. And if there's a lot of stress, anger, envy, and all that, that's what you're going to see. But if it's full of loving relationships with genuine devotees and being very kind and gentle, then you'll see all good things. So it's important to prepare ourselves for the moment of death. The moment of death for a devotee is the best moment, because that's when they're going to see Krishna. And the moment of death for a non-devotee is the worst moment, because that's when they're going to see Yamaraj. So we should be very, very well educated to understand what is the real purpose of the human body. The animal, like you see Radhika here, the cow, the cows can't understand their relationship with God. Animals can't understand their relationship with God. But human beings have the ability to understand their relationship with God. But if a human being doesn't try to understand the relationship with God, they're no better than an animal. So there are four-legged animals and there are two-legged animals. So the two-legged animals are the human beings that are not making any effort at all to understand their relationship with God or Krishna. So when you come to the temple here, our main subject is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We don't talk about the politics. We don't talk about how to make more money on the stock market. We don't talk about the war. We don't talk about this thing, that thing. We talk about Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because in normal life, most people are not talking about Krishna. They're talking about their 401k. They're talking about how their kid passed the SAT. They're talking about, the new car they bought. They're talking about the new cell phone they have, and so forth. Uh, in fact, let me ask some questions here. Let me ask you a question, okay? What's your name? What? Mahit. Okay, Mahit. What did your friends at school talk about?
They talk about what are all the cool stuff they have, and like about like watches, and how rich they are.
How rich they are?
Yes.
Did they ever talk about Krishna or God?
They talk about Jesus once. That's how.
Once.
Yes,
Okay.
once.
Okay, give the microphone to Prabhuji there. No, you. Go ahead. Give it over here. Over here. It's behind you there. So what is your friends at school talk about?
Similar things, but they more talk about school and sports.
Okay. They talk about Krishna or God?
No.
No. Okay, give it to him now. Okay, Prabhu. What do your friends talk about at school?
Like sports, Maharaj, and like the assignments we have to do in school.
Assignments?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Some homework?
Yeah, homework assignments.
Okay. You see, do they ever mention God?
No, Maharaj.
Yeah. You see what the world has come to. The most important thing to know is your relationship with God, and no one's talking about it. It's not being born, it's spoken about in the school. Do they speak about God in school?
No.
By the way, in public schools, they're not allowed to, let's say, talk about God. They can mention the word, but they're not allowed to talk about God. Yeah, one of my kids was in school, and she wrote, an assignment, and she talked only about Krishna, And the teacher told her that this is not good. You have to rewrite your whole paper, but don't write anything spiritual. So this is the sad state of the material world today, and education in the Western world. Okay, so now you have a great chance now, once in a lifetime chance, to ask me a question. So don't be afraid. If you have any question, I'm sure you don't agree with everything I said, or there are some things I said you might not have understood. So somebody ask a question. Go ahead. Yes.
So Maharaj, why do they not talk about God in school, and why is it wrong to talk about God in school, Maharaj?
Because there's a rule that God is not a subject, and that you can talk about in school. Now, maybe if you go to a Catholic school, they'll talk somewhat about God, but in the public schools, they don't talk about God, because it's mainly because they're atheists. They talk about everything else but not God. Maybe sometimes they talk about, the American Indians, and their understanding of God, but nothing, tangible. It's because they're not allowed to speak about God. I remember one of my kids, she wrote a paper, a homework paper, where she wrote about Krishna, and the teacher said, take this back and rewrite it. You're not allowed to, we don't allow this type of religious, homework. So we're dealing with atheistic people in the world today. They're the major majority. They're more atheists now than ever before. In India also. In India also, a lot of atheists and what you would call non-believers now. Not only communists, but you have very emphatic atheists now. what is the name of those people? I forget. In South India. Probably you know what the name of the demons are there. What's the name?
Yankees are very popular there.
Yes.
It's basically against the casteism and yeah. Yeah, in the Dravidians, there is in the southern India, there are set up people, it is only certain group of people dominating, and that was again, they were preaching in the name of God, they were dividing the people in the names of caste. That's the reason why the atheists were born, and they became very predominant. But now they are also learning about God, but they know about God, but the religion is the evil, basically.
Atheist.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Every
let's-
religion, Prabhu, one thing what we are seeing is the religion, God is only one and is universal, but they are always dividing the people in the name of religion. That's a problem. The Christianity, the schools, for example, if the school, if people are talking about God, no, Jesus is our God. No, Krishna is our God. Allah is our God. If the students will start fighting among themselves, that's the reason why they are not allowed to talk about God. That is a real reason.
Well, Wahad Allah. You ever hear that? Wahad Allah. It means there's only one God. The Muslims say that.
Yeah,
Wahad
yeah.
Allah. Shirik al, Shirik la, Wahad Allah, Shirik la, Illahu. There's only
Allahu
one
Akbar,
God, and
Allahu
we-
Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
No. This says that there's only one God, and we're all the children of God. So that's the correct understanding. Yeah, there can be different names of God. Like you have Krishna, or you have, Rama,
Jehovah,
and so
Jehovah.
forth. Yes, Jehovah, and so forth. But there's only one God. He has different names, and he's the God of everybody, right? So we don't differentiate in that way. In fact, I've organized what you would call interfaith conferences here in the temple, where we had a Jewish rabbi and a Muslim imam, and we had this one lady. She was an atheist, so she came also. I invited her also. She had a chance to speak why she doesn't believe in God. And it was a nice little you would call it a conference, and everyone had a chance to speak. And then we all had nice prasadam. They liked the prasadam very much, and they all thanked me for organizing the program. So that's the point. Everybody's in the same boat. There's the boat of birth, death, old age, and disease. Now, fighting about, who's the God or your God or my God, it's useless, because we all have the same problem, So that's why there should be a lot of, let's say, respect, and a lot of patience, and a real desire to understand what is the truth. The truth is that as soon as you're born, you begin to die. That's the truth. And before you die, you have a chance as a human being to understand your relationship with God. Animals can't do that. Only human beings can do that. And if we don't try to understand our relationship with God, we could go back into the animal species again, and have to wait and go gradually back to the human species. So that's the whole point. What is the real reason we have a human body? It's to understand our relationship with God. And if we don't do that, then we will go back into the process of evolution. And there's no guarantee what next body you can have. You could have the body of an ant. You could have a body of a cockroach, right? In fact, there are a lot of cockroaches, In fact, in China, they eat cockroaches, but not. Some of them fry them like pakora, right? And they eat them. But now they're a little more sophisticated, so they powder the body of the cockroach and make it into a powder, and then they give it a different name, like X4 436 or something. So you don't really recognize it. And they say that this is, a high-protein food, the new high-protein food, but they don't say cockroach. They say X something or Y something. So we see a lot of tricks today in the food business. But the best food is Mahaprasadam. And there's no cockroaches in Mahaprasadam, so you have nothing to worry about. So do we have any other questions? This is your chance. Yes, Mataji. Give her a microphone.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So in that purport where you read, Krishna does everything correct. Like Arjuna says that. So in our everyday, like what we see, what part exactly Krishna does and what we are doing. So how this karma applies, like I am not having that clarity.
How is what?
What exactly Krishna does and what exactly we are doing as our karma in our everyday activities. Krishna does everything correct, then so many wrong things also are happening. No? So where exactly Krishna's activities goes and where exactly our karma comes into play?
Okay. Well, look, the real goal of life is akarma, no karma. There's karma, vikarma, and akarma. So karma is acting according to the Vedic principles, but with attachment to the results. And vikarma is acting against the principles of Vedic tradition. And akarma means no karma. Now, what's no karma? That's when you engage in devotional service with love and devotion for the Lord without expecting anything in return. That's pure devotional service. You don't expect anything in return. But karma means you follow the rules and regulations, but you expect something in return. And vikarma means you engage in devotional service, but you don't expect anything in return. So that's pure devotional service. And vikarma is violating the rules and regulations of karma. So karma is action. So there's different types of actions. But vikarma is action without any karmic reaction. Normally, whatever you do, there's some reaction to it. But when you act only to please the Lord without any expectation of something in return, that is pure devotional service. And that's called vikarma. There's no reaction at all. So you're liberated at that point. And you can do so many wonderful things in that state of mind.
So my doubt was on what part Krishna does. Like what's his duty? I'm like, does he have any duty as such, or like he does everything correct? That I want some more details to
Well,
it.
he's doing everything. Like, do you know how your heart is beating? Do you know how you make blood? Do you know how? Excuse me. There's so many mysteries that we don't know. That's because God is behind all those mysteries. There's a controller. There's a plan also. The plan of God is to help you come back to Godhead, not to stay and rot in the material world. So that's why Krishna has given Bhagavad Gita, he's given the Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna is in every way trying to help people come back to the spiritual world, where they came from originally, right? And all you have to do is say, Dear Krishna, now I want to be your devotee. I want to follow the regulative principles of spiritual life, and I want to always remember you 24 hours a day. And then Krishna will help you. Yeah, that's all you have to say. And Krishna will help you, and you will be able to remember him at the moment of death and go back to Godhead. See, the most important moment in anybody's life is the moment of death. that's what's going to determine what's going to happen to you next. So if you think about your 401k or your dog or you think about sex or something like that at the moment of death, and you take birth again. And there's no guarantee what that birth is going to be. It could be an animal, it could be a cockroach, right? They're all living entities. So the real purpose of the human body is to prepare yourself for the moment of death so that you can remember Krishna. And the way to do that is practice makes perfect. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you're always chanting Hare Krishna, then you can remember Krishna at the moment of death easily. But if you never chant Hare Krishna, how can you remember him at the moment of death? You see? You'll be thinking about your 401k, you'll be thinking about who gets my car, you'll be thinking about, your enemies or whatever. So it's very important to understand what is the destiny of the human form of life. The human form of life is specifically given to understand our relationship with God. And if you don't make an attempt to understand your relationship with God, then you're going to take birth again as an animal or even less, and have to go through that whole evolutionary process to come back to the human form. So that's what we should understand, that it's very rare to have a human form of life. And in the human form of life, if we waste our time just eating, sleeping, mating, and defending like animals, then you're going to get stuck in the process of birth and death. Okay, so now what was your question? What's Krishna have to do with all of this? Is that what you said? Krishna has a lot to do with it. Because if you take an interest in him, he takes an interest in you. And he'll help you in every way to remember him, and he'll protect you so that you can easily make spiritual advancement. And he'll put you in touch with genuine devotees so you'll be inspired properly. And in other words, he'll solve all your problems. Let's put it like that. And people have a lot of problems in life, right? But if Krishna is on your side, all your problems go away. It's just like Arjuna. Arjuna had no way to win the battle of Kurukshetra. He was outnumbered, and there were great Maharathis, fighting against him. But because Krishna was on his side, he was able to defeat the Kurus. So you want to get Krishna on your side. And the way to do that is by chanting Hare Krishna and following the rules and regulations of Sanatana Dharma. Then Krishna will be on your side. And that's the best, let's say, insurance policy you can have. Excuse me. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Are there any other questions? Anyone? Yes, sir. Let's give the microphone back here. Oh, okay. No, you don't have to come here. Here, the microphone is here. Here. Look, see. Turn around. There. What's your name?
Atarva?
Okay. Atarva?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your question, Atarva? How old are you, first of all?
I'm 5.
5 years old. Very good. What's your question?
So if humans only...
Wait a minute. You turned it off. One second. Go ahead.
So if people have just 1 life and a cat has 9 lives, if God likes us, why doesn't God also give us 9 lives?
Very good question. Very good. Well, I have some good news for you. Cats have 9 lives. Humans have infinite lives because you have an immortal soul. you can never really die. You just change the material body, but your soul can never be killed. So you have infinite lives. Okay, so infinite lives two ways. Either you have infinite lives in the material world, or you have infinite life in the spiritual world. You understand? So cats, they only have 9 lives. You have an infinite lifetime because you have an immortal soul. It can never be killed. So you have nothing to worry about. Okay?
Okay.
Good. That was a good question. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Why is it only that little kids ask questions and parents don't ask any questions? It's very strange. You should, the adults should ask questions.
Maharaj, I'll ask one question.
Okay, good.
In the lecture
Are you
mentioned.
an adult? Yes, you are. Okay, good.
So Krishna's presence purifies our heart, right? But when it comes to Duryodhana, his heart was not purified even though Krishna was there. How do we explain this?
Well, he was purified by being killed by Krishna. You can't deny that. By the way, Duryodhana went back to Godhead because he was killed by Krishna. That means that Krishna is all merciful. Whether you're his friend or his enemy, if you get killed by him, you go back to Godhead. So, Sisupala also. He was also killed by Krishna. That's right, you see.
Because he was uttering always, he was thinking of Krishna
All the time. Yes, yes, yes. So whether you're thinking of Krishna with love or with hate, you get purified. Give him the microphone so everyone can hear.
The Siswala story I used to tell the atheist. Yeah, you are all the guys, you are definitely going to heaven because you are always thinking of God.
Yes, exactly. You see how nice Krishna is. Whether you think about him with love or with hatred, you get purified and go back to the spiritual world. Haribol. That's a real God. He's not a God of wrath. He's a God of love. Any other questions? Now we're getting into some good questions here. Anybody else would like to ask a question?
Bro, I have only one question I am having.
Only one?
Yeah, one question now,
Okay.
right now. Say now in our Bhagavatam, it says the deity worship is only optional. If you are able to perceive me in my heart, that is what God prefers. That is our Krishna prefers. That is, we are able to perceive him in our heart. If we are not able to perceive him, then you can have deity worship. When you go for deity worship, these are the rules and regulations. That's the way we only he says. He is not telling that the deity worship is a must.
So do you see Krishna in your heart?
We can perceive,
No,
as
no,
you
not-
always.
not we can. Are you actually seeing Krishna in your heart?
Prabhu, many times you have told, always Krishna lives in our heart and he is listening to what we are talking. Definitely, I definitely think of, yes, when we do something which is not correct, immediately it is hurting. Oh, I am doing something wrong. So that is because Krishna is there in our heart and telling.
But are you actually seeing Krishna in your heart?
Perceiving him, yeah, but he has no form, as you have been always telling. That is, our Lord Krishna has no definite, this is a finite form. We are
That's not-
perceiving him as this particular form here in our temple.
That's not true, Prabhu. Krishna has an eternal form. So, and you're not seeing Krishna in your heart. That's the point. But you can by not reading any Mayavad philosophy and things like that. You have to be engaged. Well, I mean, you have to come regularly to the temple, which you do, and that's very good. But in all those days that you're not in the temple, you should have a spiritual practice with a deity of Krishna, offering food, and then eating that Mahaprasadam, and obviously chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra then you're directly associating with Krishna, whether you're in a subway or whether you're in a temple or whether you're at home. This should always be with you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. There's 108 beads of tulsi wood, and you should be chanting all the time. Just like the Christians, they have a rosary, right? And they're chanting. And then the Muslims, they have the tesbah. But the tesbah, they're not chanting anything. They're just fingering it, right? But let's see, the Catholic monks and the Catholic sisters, they have their rosary and they're chanting all the time. They don't chant Hare Krishna, but they chant the names of Jesus. So it's very important to have these beads. This means that you are getting serious about having a relationship with Krishna, right? And if you don't carry the beads all the time, it's like walking out of the house without your pants on, you see. So therefore, it's very important to have your beads and a bead bag and chant always Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So here's a gentleman with a bead bag. Why don't you show everyone the bead bag? Yeah, see? Yeah. And what's inside? You have a turtle or something? No, you have beads. See? There you go. And he's chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So that means that you're actually a devotee. Haribol. You have beads?
I have a phone.
No, you still always have it on you. What if you have an accident when you're driving back? I hope it never happens. But let's say you're driving back and you have an accident, and
if I don't have beads, I have a technique. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare.
Hare. That's the way I continue 108. The last time when I do, don't open these fingers. So
well,
there
I
is
hope you do that. I hope you do that.
there are techniques in case.
Yeah.
If I don't have the beads and I am doing these prayers, I can.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, any other questions anyone would like to ask? So we'll stop right there, and we will continue with the program.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for coming for the Sunday feast. And today's sponsors are Akash Shivhare on the occasion of birthday, and Preeti Shivhare, Vihan Niradavolu on the occasion of Vihan's 7th birthday. Is Vihan here? Priyanka Singh on the occasion of birthday. Meera Shankara, Subramanyam Mandavelli, sponsoring feast in the name of daughters Sanjana Mandavelli, and Nilambari Desai, marriage anniversary and birthday of Amau Kanapiran. Ashwini Pai, for well-being of Ayush, Anaya, Ashwini, Anand, and the Inmati Pai families. So you see the various birthdays, marriage anniversaries, various occasions. So all the feast, the sponsorship, we're not just using it here, we also use it for free food distribution through our free food truck, which goes multiple days to multiple locations. So please do consider sponsoring a feast here. We have a couple of announcements. So next week, Saturday, His Holiness Bhakti Anugraha Janardhan Maharaj was a disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He visits along with Gopal Krishna Maharaj every year. So this year, Maharaj is no more, Gopal Krishna Maharaj, so he is traveling. So he is coming and giving a morning class on Saturday, next Saturday, and in the evening, 2 days. So please, and Sunday morning too. So please do come and participate in the Bhagavatam classes. It's good to listen from sannyasis who are traveling like that. And we also have visit of His Grace Amarendra Prabhu. His classes are planned for the later half of the week, Thursday and Sunday and Monday. And the major announcements, we are going to participate in Derby Days in Redmond on July 14th. As many of you know, we actually take our Jagannath on the cart, Rath Yatra. So please do come and invite all your friends, families, dress up nicely, come with for singing and dancing for Lord Jagannath. And we get an opportunity to immerse the Redmond city citizens in participating in this too. So it's a huge, first time we participated, we were the first good attraction for many people. So chant nicely and dance nicely for Lord Jagannath. July 14th, mark your calendar. And Anand Mela, or always we are waiting for this, the major event of the year. It's on the last Saturday, Sunday of every July. So this year it is July 27th and 28th. And we still have registrations open for dance performances and vendor registrations. So if you want to participate, ask us at the front desk or go to anandamela.org. Okay? So please do participate in the Anandamela and come nicely for chanting, and also we'll have nice prasadam too. Hare Krishna. So we'll now do the arati here. Please come. Parade is on 14th, I think. Yeah, that's what it says here. Yeah.
So if anybody wants to ask me some questions, I'll be in the library in the back. You're welcome to come.
Radha Krishna Prana Mora Yugala Kishore Radha Krishna Prana Mora Yugala Kishore Radha Krishna Prana Mora Yugala Kishore Jivane Marane Gati Aronahi Mora Jivane Marane Rati Aronahi Mora Jivane Marane Rati Aronahi Mora Jivane Marane Radha Krishna Prana Mora Yugala Kishore Radha Krishna Prana Mora Yugala Kishore Kalindira Kule कदम्बे रवाना कालिंदीरा कुले केली कदम्बे रवाना कालिंदीरा कुले केली कालिंदीरा कुले केली कादंबे रवाना रत्ना वेदीना उपार बोसबो दुजाना रतने वेदीरा उपार बोसबो दुजाना रत्ना वेदीरा पार बोसबो दुजाना रतनया वेदीरा उपार बोसबो दुजाना राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर श्याम गौरी अंगे दिवो चंदने गंध श्याम गौरी अंगे दिवो चंदने गंध श्याम गौरी अंगे दिवो चंदने गंध श्याम गौरी अंगे दिवो गंध चमरा धुलावो कबे हरि मुख चंद्र 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 राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगला किशोर राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर गतिया मला तिरमला दिवो दोहरा गले गतिया मला ते मला दिवो दोहरा गले गतिया मला तिरमला दिवो दोहरा गले गतिया मला तिरमला दिवो दोहरा गले अधरे तुलिया दिवो कर्पूरा तंबूले तुलिया दिवो कर्पूरा तंबूले अधरे तुलिया दिवो कर्पूरा तंबूले आधारे तुलिया दिवो कर्पूरा तंबूले राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर
ललिता विशाखादि चतसखी वृंद
ललिता विशाखादि यथा सखी वृंदा
ललिता विशाखादि यतसखी वृंद
ललिता विशाखादि यथा सखी वृंदा
अज्ञया करीवो सेवा चरणारविंद
अज्ञा करीबो सेवा चरणारविंदा
अज्ञया करीवो सेवा चरणारविंद
अज्ञा करीबो सेवा चरणारविंदा
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासेरानुदासा
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 सेवाभिलाषा कोरे नरोत्तमदासा
सेवाभिलाषा करे
सेवाभिलाषा कोरे नरोत्तमदासा
सेवाभिलाषा करे
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर
जीवने मराने गति अरो नाही मोरा
जीवने मराने रति और नाही मोरा
जीवने मराने गति अरो नाही मोरा
जीवने मराने रति और नाही मोरा
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल 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 किशोर
जीवने मरने गति अरो नाही मोरा
जीवने मरने रति और नाही मोरा
जीवने मरने गति अरो नाही मोरा
जीवने मरने रति और नाही मोरा
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
जयो राधा नीलमद श्री राधे
जय राधा नीलमद श्री राधे
जयो राधा नीलमद श्री राधे
जय राधा नीलमद श्री राधे
जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा
जय जगन्नाथ जय देवा जय सुभद्रा
जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय सीताराम जय सीताराम जय सीताराम जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान
जय सीताराम जय लक्ष्मण हनुमान
जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह
जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह
जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा श्रील प्रभुपादा
प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा
जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा श्रील प्रभुपादा
जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा
जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा श्रील प्रभुपादा
प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा
जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा जय गुरुदेवा
गुरुदेवा जय
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल
हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
वृंद की नामाचार्य शीलादास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की समवेत भक्त वृंद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories. Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki jai.